Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning. I would like to welcome you all to this very important event. Thank you for joining us today in the seminar with theme The Role of Women in Islam. My name is Oktaviani Dwinda Cahyawati, your moderator for today's event, and I will be guiding us through the proceedings. But before we begin, the audience is asked to sing Indonesian song together.
Kepada Sang Merah Putih, hormat! Kal!
Thank you for all the audience. Today we gather to explore the topic of the role of women in Islam, which is highly relevant and significant in the context of understanding religion and gender roles. The aim of this seminar is to delve into understanding the roles and contribution of women in Islam, as well as exploring untapped potential. We have esteemed and experienced speakers who will provide valuable insight on this topic. Without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker, Mrs. Nadia Rahma. Miss Nadia Rahma. So, Miss Nadia Rahma graduated from Sunan Ampel State Islamic University, Surabaya, and now she's worked as lecturer on Hadith interpretation at Al-Azhar University. Next speaker is Ms. Nareswari Novia Ramadhani Azahra. She is a teacher at Islamic Religious Education and English at SMA Negeri 2 Jakarta, and she is graduate from UIN Sunan Ampel Bachelor in English Literature. And for the last speaker is Ms. Nafisa Falahul Basiro. She is graduate from Jakarta State Islamic University, and now she is work as an author. And they will bring an extensive experience in the field of Islamic studies, and we are fortunate to hear their perspective today. We will begin with a presentation by Ms. Nadia Rahma. Please give her a warm welcome.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, my name is Nadia Rahma. In here, I will explain about the role of women in Islam. Next. Number one is the position of women in Al-Quran and Hadith. Next. Al-Quran verse that discuss the rights and obligation of women are found in Surat An-Nisa, part 4, verse 1. In this verse, it is taught that Allah created man and woman from the same soul, showing equality in creation. So the status of woman and man is the same, because they are all created from the same thing. And in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 2028, it explained that women have equal rights and obligation when it comes to marriage. Next. In several hadiths, the Prophet also explained and emphasizes how to treat and respect women well. Imam Bukhari once said, there was someone who come to the Prophet and asked, who should I respect first? He asked Rasulullah. Then Rasulullah answered, mother, 3 times in a row. Then the last one was father. The Prophet Muhammad also said, the best among you is the best toward his family, and I am the best towards my family. This hadith teaches that Muslim men should treat their wife and families kindly and lovingly. Next. Number 2 is women in Islamic history. Next. Women also have an important role throughout Islamic history, especially in the early days of the development of the Islamic religion. One of the female figures who played a role in the history of the spread of Islam was the wife of the Prophet, Khadijah binti Khuwailid. She was the first woman to convert to Islam. She is also known for her moral support to the Prophet, especially during the early period of Islamic preaching, which was full of challenge. There was also Aisyah binti Abu Bakar, who was also the Prophet's wife, who contributed to science and education at the time. There are other figures who plays important roles, such as Fatima Az-Zahra, the doctor of the Prophet, Asma bin Abu Bakar, and Rabi'ah al-Adawiyah, and many more. Next. Number 3 is women's rights in Islam. This topic discusses that various rights given to women in Islam, such as the rights to education, the rights to marriage, and the right to participate in daily life and the economic. Number 1 is right to education. The Islamic religion emphasizes the importance of seeking knowledge for every Muslim, both men and women. Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad SAW state seeking knowledge is an obligation for every Muslim. Hadith narrated by Ibnu Majah. One example is Aisyah bin Abu Bakar, who not only taught science and religion to Muslims. History records that many women have become scholars, hadith narrators, and scientists because education is considered an important tool for empowering women and enabling them to contribute to society. Next. Number 2 is the right to marriage. Women in Islam have the right to choose their partners. Forced marriage is not permitted in Islam. There is also such a thing as the right for receive a dowry, which is an obligatory right that the husband must give to his wife at the time of marriage. Women also have the right to good and fair treatment from their husband. If she feels unhappy in her marriage, a woman also has the right to ask her husband for khulu or divorce. The last is the right to participate in daily life and the economy. In Islam, women are allowed to work and earn a living as long as the work is halal and in accordance with Islamic principle. Khadijah bin Khuwailid, an example of a woman who is successful in business and support her family financially. Muslim record that Muslim women also have the right to participate in social and political affairs. History records that Aisyah binti Abu Bakar was involved in political events such as the Jamal War.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nadia, for the amazing presentation. For the next presentation from Miss Nareswari Novia, please give her a warm welcome.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Nareswara Novia Ramadhani Azara, and I will next the material. Next material is woman and family. First, women's role as wife and mothers in the household in Islam. Women have an important role as wives and mothers in the household. As wives, they are expected to support their husband, maintain harmony, and be equal partners in decision making. Islam emphasizes love, affection, and cooperation in marriage. As mothers, women are crucial in shaping children's character and morals through their early education, attention, affection, and spiritual guidance. Second is the concept of family in Islam and the importance of family harmony. In Islam, the family is a vital unit of society and the primary place to instill Islamic values and morals. Family harmony is emphasized, with members expected to fulfill their roles according to Islam teachings. Mutual respect, justice, and affection are crucial. Parents are responsible for their children's welfare and education, while children must respect and obey their parents. Family harmony is seen as the foundation for broader societal harmony. The next material is women's economic role. First, women as workers and entrepreneurs in Islamic societies. Women in Islam are allowed to work and become iki ngulang ya nanti ya. The first, women as workers and entrepreneurs in Islamic societies. Women in Islam are allowed to work and become entrepreneurs as long as the work is halal and is accordance with Islamic values. Islamic does not prohibit women from participating in economic activities. In fact, it encourages them if they provide benefits to the family and society. Many Muslim women are successful in various professional fields and as entrepreneurs. Second, Islamic perspective on women's economic contribution. Islam values women's economic contribution and recognizes that women can have a significant role in economic development. Islam teaches that women have the right to their income and can manage their own wealth. Women's economic contributions are considered important for the welfare of the family and society, as long as they are carried out in a manner that complies with Islamic principles. The next material is clothing and politeness. First is Islamic views on women's clothing, including the hijab. Islam has a special view of women's clothing aimed at maintaining modesty and honor. Hijab, which includes a headscarf and loose clothing, is one manifestation of this modesty. The purpose of wearing the hijab is to cover the private and avoid unwanted views from strangers. Second is the meaning of politeness and honor in Islam. Politeness and honor in Islam are not only reflected to Politeness and honor in Islam are not only reflected in the way one dresses, but also in behavior and social interactions. Islam teaches that both men and women must maintain modesty in speaking, acting, and dressing. Honor is an important value that every individual must maintain, and it is reflected in the way a person respects himself and others. Islam emphasizes that modesty is a sign of high faith and morality. Okay, thank you. That's all for me. We will next to the next material.
So thank you, Miss Nareswari Novia, for the great presentation. And the last presentation from Miss Nafisa Falhul Basiro. Please give her a warm welcome.
Okay, my name is Nafisa Falaul Bashiro, and I will continue to the material. Okay, number 7 is woman in Islamic law. First is inheritance. His or her estate is distributed to his or her family members. The share received by women, such as daughters, is usually half that of men, or such as sons. This is not because women are considered less important, but because in the Islamic system, men are responsible for providing for the family. So they receive a larger share to fulfill that responsibility. Second is divorce. In Islam, both men and women can file for divorce. A man can divorce his wife through a process called divorce. Women can also file for divorce through a process called khulq, where she asks for a divorce and might have to return the dowry or provide compensation to her husband. This shows that women also have the right to an unhappy marriage. Next is child custody. After divorce, child custody is usually awarded to the mother while the child is still young, as it considered that the mother is better at caring for young children. However, as the child grows older, custody may change depending on the best interest of the child. It also takes into consideration the parent's ability to provide good parenting. And next is, what is difference in interpretation traditional vs modern? Traditional interpretation is often strict and based on classical texts without considering the context of the time. Modern interpretation tends to be more flexible, taking into account social and cultural changes and human rights. And the next is women in modern society. First is challenges and opportunities. Challenges. Muslim women face challenges such as gender discrimination, limited access to education, and limitation in public and political participation. And opportunities. Opportunities is the growing awareness of women's rights and the movement for gender equality in Islamic society opens up opportunity for women to contribute more widely in various fields. Second, Islamic feminism. First is movement. The Islamic feminism movement seeks to reinterpret religious texts from a more gender equitable perspective seeking to eliminate bias and patriarchal interpretation. And second is reinterpretation. Muslim feminists, activists, and scholars work to align Islamic principles with contemporary women's rights, emphasizing that Islamic values support justice and equality. And the last is contemporary cases. First is education. Many Muslim women now have better access to education, although there are still gaps in some areas. Education is considered key to women empowerment and independence. Second is domestic violence. Domestic violence is a critical issue facing Muslim women. Many organizations strive to provide protection and support for victims of violence, as well as advocate for legal changes that better support victims. And third is political participation. A growing number of Muslim women are participating in politics and governance, although cultural and structural barriers remain. Third is political participation. A growing number of Muslim women are participating in politics and governance, although cultural and structural barriers remain. Their presence in the public sphere sets an important example for the younger generation and supports social change.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nafisa Falhu Basiro. Thanks to all our speakers. After the presentation from the speakers, it's now time for us to participate in Q&A session. Feel free to ask questions or provide comments related to the material presented. So, who would like to ask the question? Please raise your virtual hand. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Speak your question.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Rauf Raditya Subagio, and I'm from UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. Before that, I want to appreciate the speaker that have really delivered a good material. My question is, how does Islam view polygamy, and what is the impact on women? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Raouf. So now it's time to the speakers to answer the question. So who wants to answer this question? Please, Miss Nadia, Miss Nares, and Miss Nafisa.
I want to answer the question.
Okay.
So, Islam views polygamy as a form of marriage that is permitted under certain conditions. However, polygamy can also be considered a form of violence against women in some contexts. Based on the Surah An-Nisa ayat 3 and 4, polygamy is considered a form of marriage that can improve the status of women who have an equal position with men. So that's all for the question.
For the answer.
So that's all for the answer. I hope you understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nares. Is that answer your question, Mr. Raouf Raditya? Okay, next question. Who wants to ask the question for the all audience? Okay, Miss Nabila Ainaul.
Thank you for the opportunity. The presentation was very good, and I want to ask. Before that, my name is Nabila Inakul Mardiatila. I'm from UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. The question is, what is the role of women in politics and government according to Islamic views? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So it's time for the speaker to answer the question from Miss Nabila. So who wants to answer this question? Miss Nadia?
Islam recognizes equality between men and women and make women also entitled to participate in, in politics and government if they have necessary skills and knowledge. Historical examples shows women active in this role, such as Aisyah binti Abu Bakar As-Siddiq.
Thank you, Miss Nafisa. I hope I hope this I hope the answer from Miss Nafisa is answering the question from Miss Nabila. So who wants to ask the last question? Okay, Miss Rahmalia, time is yours.
My name is Rahmalia Nur Fatihah Sari. I will ask the question about what were the contributions of women in the propagation of Islam during the time of Prophet Muhammad. Thank you so much.
Who wants to answer this question? Okay, thank you for your question. So for Miss Nadia, please answer this question.
Okay, in here I will answer you last question. I will give you example figures like Khadijah bin Khalid. Khadijah played an important role in strengthening the faith and spirit of the Prophet Muhammad SAW when facing the initial challenges in spreading Islam. And Aisyah bin Abu Bakar, she narrated many hadiths which are important sources in Islamic law and the daily life of Muslim. Aisyah also taught many friends and the next generation about Islam. So her contribution was enormous in spreading religious knowledge. And the last figure is Fatima Az-Zahra, even though her role is more family is in nature. She provides an exemplary example as a Muslim woman who is devoted and dedicated to her family.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nadia Rahma, for the excellent answer. And now it's time to end this seminar. With this, we are nearing to end of today's seminar. But before we conclude, is there any final question from the participant or anyone who would like to share a brief experience before we end this event? If there is no question, I will conclude this presentation today. So, in conclusion, the role of women in Islam is multi-phase and dynamic, spanning history to the present day. By understanding and promoting the true teaching of Islam regarding women, we can work towards a more inclusive and equitable society for all. Thank you to all the speakers who have shared their knowledge and insights today, as well as to all the participants who have actively participated. Let us continue to engage in dialogue and action to support the empowerment and rights of women in Islam and beyond. With that, as the moderator, me Oktaviani Duinda Chayawati, I would like to declare that today's seminar is officially closed. Thank you once again to everyone who attended. Let's continue to collaborate and learn together. Until next time. Have a wonderful day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.